Hey, what's up, everyone? Glad to have you today. I'm here with my special guest, Aaron Garcia. He's one of those guys that you just gotta you enjoy being around. Super happy guy, super competitive. Been a CrossFit coach for many years. Been in health and nutrition, and the reason I'm actually having him on today is because of his super mindset. He's super energetic, super powerful, just always happy guy. You won't meet a happier guy. So he's here with us today to talk about mindset. One of my favorite things about Aaron, even though we've been in some businesses together, we've hung out, we've known each other for quite a while now. We have this little competition back and forth when it comes to the CrossFit Open. So I'll do a workout and I'll text him real quick. What'd you get? How'd you do it? And we have a lot of fun with it. So it keeps us both going. I think it keeps us both motivated through the Opens. So anyhow, I'll let Aaron introduce himself, tell a little bit about his background, and then we'll jump right into the mindset thing. So Aaron, take it away, man.
Right, right on. Thanks, Justin. Well, I got to step up my game because you took it to me this year. So thanks for whooping me in the open.
It was a good move for me.
Yeah, it was. So awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on. This is awesome. And yeah, a little bit about myself. I grew up actually in Colorado, northern Colorado. And so growing up in Colorado, playing sports, you got to play different sports if you want to continue to play all year round. Not like here in Southern California where I live now, where kids can pick one sport and play it all year round. So in Colorado, I grew up playing all year sports: baseball, basketball, football. But as I turned about 13, weight training came into the picture. I was on a competitive soccer team, and my soccer coach made one of our practices was the first time I had started, got into using analytics, and that's when it all changed for me. It was cool to be naturally kind of strong, just doing all the different stuff. And I was a big kid, man. I grew up fast. I think in sixth grade, if I'm remembering right, I was like 5'10", 145 pounds. I was a big kid. So I was pretty strong. But the first time I, got on a bench, I was on 45-pound plates, and the 135 pounds kind of squishes you as a 13-year-old, So, oh, we might have had some technical difficulties here.
Oh, that's all right. I cut your video.
Did it mess up again?
I cut the video. Maybe that'll help with the connection a little bit. So that's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just keep. Okay. Perfect. So, so as far as the strength training goes, not only did I notice that I started to feel stronger, more explosive on the field, but also, aesthetically, your body starts to change. So you start to build up with some confidence, and that's kind of where that started to. I started to excel at lifting weights. Like I wanted to do weight training more frequently. And I actually got to the point where I started loving it so much, I wanted to do some like bodybuilding competitions. So by the time I turned 18, I really, started looking into it. I was reading books. I remember I bought Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Lifting. Well, it's not really what it's called, but we called it that, where it has all the different exercises. So every day before we'd go to the gym, I'd open the book up, and, if it was chest and tries day, I would grab 3 exercises for my chest and 3 exercises for my tries. And they were different every week. It would come to chest and tries to be different. And so I would do this, chest and tries, back and bis, legs and shoulders, kind of old school bodybuilding, programming. And that was awesome. But I loved it. And it really did help me to excel at sports. I did get a scholarship to play baseball in college. And I continued, loving the fitness aspect, strength training, as well as the sports itself. So kind of fast forward post college. Obviously the dream was to play professional baseball. That didn't happen. But, I after school, I was actually met my wife, my now wife, in Denver. And she actually was in professional sports at the time. She played professional softball overseas, and her brother actually had a baseball and softball academy here in Southern California. So after we'd been dating, it was about 6 months, I moved out here to California, where I took over the speed, strength, and agility training for my brother-in-law's facility. And so that's kind of how I found, or I guess I should say how CrossFit found me. When I was in there training, I'm training, it was mostly kids, they're teenagers, some a little younger, some are high school and college age. But one of the dads of a student who went to the academy there and got lessons, he was a Marine and he was certified in CrossFit. And so he told my brother-in-law, he said, "Hey, have you ever heard of CrossFit?" He said, "No, what's that?" So he said, "It's this really good strength and conditioning program. It's great for adults and kids. You should have your trainer look into it." So my brother-in-law passed that on to me, CrossFit.com. And this is back 2009. So this is a long time ago, right? So he gave me that. I got on the website, saw these workouts, decided to try one. The first one I did absolutely crushed me, and I was hooked. I think that's kind of how everybody is, right? And I mean, for me, I mean, it was just kind of funny how here I am at, 24 Hour Fitness where I went before. I would do military press with 75-pound dumbbells, right? Where this particular workout, the first one, I remember it had a 75-pound barbell. It had, I don't know, like wall balls, box jumps, and running. And it was like a 4-round workout. And I remember I was like, really, 75-pound barbell, that's it? And obviously this is a long time ago. It's pretty light today. But I was like, all right, whatever. So I do the first round, come back in on that second one, and I could barely lift the bar. That I had never been taxed like that before. Yeah, I was just like, to get that bar up, and it was like, oh my gosh. So I had to strip it down. I had to use 45 pounds for the rest of the workout. I think my medicine ball, I didn't even have a 20-pound ball. I think I literally had an 8-pound medicine ball, and it was killing me. But that's kind of how I found CrossFit, or CrossFit found me, and that's where it started. I got completely hooked. I started to digest as much information as possible. I felt like Neo from the Matrix. I was just like video, just trying to learn more and more and more. And then it was around a year in, I did my first competition back when we had sectionals. And then it was a year after that, or it was after that year that I got certified in CrossFit. And I just remember they were talking about nutrition. I had never paid as much attention to nutrition. I mean, I was, fairly young. I think, at this time I was 29. So I was just working out was fine. My body recovered quickly, former collegiate athlete, and always been an athlete, but my recovery, are you ready? 20 to 30 minutes post-workout.
Wow.
Before I could be like, oh, okay, I'm recovered, right? Yeah. And I could coach some classes. When I went to my certification, I remember them talking about nutrition and how important it was and how this would really accelerate your results as well as your recovery time. And I thought, well, maybe I should look into this. And the diet, obviously, everyone was talking about back then, or the diets, was Zone and Paleo.
Yes.
Those were like the two big diets. And so I guess blending them together being, Paleo Zone, or some call it Primal. So it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, well, let me try one of these. So I'm like, well, let me just go with Zone. So I tried the Zone diet, and it was remarkable what happened after the first month of really dialing it in. I mean, using the food scale, using the cups and spoons and all that. Our recovery time post-workout was about 2 minutes as opposed to 20. So it was amazing. And so that's kind of what started it. And I think for me, the other big thing and why I got so dialed into my nutrition is because diabetes runs in my family. Wow. Both my mom and dad are diabetic. Well, my mom was diabetic. She passed before she turned 58 years old. She was only 57. Wow. And diabetes really beat her body up. And I'm not saying that she would still be alive today if I, was able to help with some nutrition knowledge. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. However, just through my experience in reading and being around it and kind of understanding what is good food, what is not, and how to be active in a proper way, like, being able to scale, modify, and just get somebody moving. I think she would have had a better quality of life and probably would have helped prolong her life. So I also noticed I watched my dad develop diabetes into his 50s. And, I just remember him saying, oh, I can't eat that anymore, or I can't drink that anymore. And that wasn't anything that I wanted to deal with. you know? And so 10 years ago, I made that choice and I started to do the zone diet, and I still follow that to some degree. And keep it that 80-20, 80% of the time it's clean, 20% of the time you kind of have some of your treats, right? Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's about. It's about balance, and that's kind of the overall encompassing story of my kind of athletic and fitness journey. And then, you know, as we kind of talked about with mindset, mindset is a big part of everything that we do. And so everything that I believe in and stand for, being positive. I thank my mom for this quick little story about it. I was about 13 years old. I used to stress a lot. I got really good grades. I wanted to have good grades. And I remember I had this project that was due, and it was coming down to the deadline, and I was freaking out that I wasn't going to get it done, or it wasn't going to get an A. And my mom just kind of stopped me and said, "Mijo, let me ask you something." And my mom's Hispanic, so Mijo means son. She said, she's like, "What is stressing about this doing for you? Is it getting your project done?" I said, "No." She said, "Is it making you feel better?" I said, "No." She said, "All right. Well, then why would you stress about it? Just do what you can do it to your best ability, and deal with the consequences afterwards. If you get an A, great. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You learn from it, take your lesson, deal with the consequences, and move forward." And so I kind of started taking that approach to life in general, right? Like, instead of stressing about stuff, I do everything that I can to take care of my situation. And then you kind of, you know, deal with the consequences, whether it's good or bad, right? And so that's kind of where it all started for me way back then. And then obviously playing all the athletics and, you know, being, having great coaches along the way, working through adversity. I mean, when you play sports, you can't help but face adversity, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
And do you remember? Yeah, I think that's a great approach in your mom. So that was really when you kind of decided that, hey, the stressing and this is not really helping me. It's a better mindset. Was there a coach in school in particular that may have, you know, kind of helped you along with that mindset? Because it is sports is such a mental game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had a few very influential coaches in my life for sure. You know, became like father figures to me in my life. My first competitive soccer coach, I think I started playing travel soccer when I was 8.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And I played with that same team until I turned 13.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years. When you're that young, feels like a lifetime.
Yeah. And
his son and I were like best of friends. Zach Jones, and coach was Jim Jones. And Jim was a great guy, and just the way that he kind of instilled that that belief in us that we could be more and do more. And just by him kind of giving us that encouragement, really kind of to help us mature at a young age. And so that was a lot of what it was. I mean, I was, you know, captain on the soccer team. And so that helped with the way he would kind of put responsibility on me and help me to grow. I mean, I think that helped a lot with maturity and just having that, you know, mindset that we could, even coming from a relatively small town relative to teams that we played, we could still win and still have success. And I think it started, you know, with him. I mean, that was, it was pretty awesome.
Well, and that's one thing that I like. It's kind of infused in me. I didn't have such a background in sports, but when I found CrossFit, it was kind of that, you know, that what is the encouragement of everyone around you, and just that mindset that you can do anything. And then, you know, the next thing you know, wow, you made that lift. Wow, you did, you know, a muscle up. Wow, you did. And I think that whole culture inside of CrossFit, and really just any kind of workout community. Now you got boot camp, you've got, you know, HIIT, you got all the other different ones that I think really kind of expand on the mindset, and which is a huge thing, especially with all the negativity and the stress that, you know, a typical person will go through in a day. So I think that's big. So Tell me, you coach at CrossFit now. you do some online coaching. You do some youth coaching. Just kind of get into that a little bit, and really, how does mindset? Since we're on mindset, do you play on that mindset? Do you kind of instill that mindset on your athletes or on your the people that you're coaching?
Absolutely. I coach at CrossFit Foothill in Southern California, Rancho Cucamonga. And then I also do, I get to coach some drop-in fitness classes at a college nearby. It's actually my wife is a head softball coach at a college just down the way here at Claremont Mud Scripts. And I get to do some drop-in classes there. So it's pretty cool. And then, I get to do private instruction with kids doing baseball and softball, whether it's hitting, pitching, fielding, catching, your basic fundamentals. Been around the game a long time, and it's cool to get to share that knowledge with these kids. And I definitely am tripping, whether they're aware of it or not, the mind game. Because, to be able to understand what's going on, it could get a little heavy for a kid. But there are certain things that we can talk about that can help them to just get the most out of what they're doing. And what's great about it is that if I can help them maximize their lesson and get better at their sport and build that confidence there, that carries over to other areas of their life, which is really cool. And so I talk about an example. This is just one simple example. A lot of times, the kids are coming into me after school. So they've gotten up early in the morning. They got to get fed, they got to get dressed, they got to get to school, and they have a long day of school, and then they got to change their mindset, come to practice a private session with me for 30 minutes. And then typically, they're maybe off to their team practice, right? So they're really kind of starting to, they kind of sometimes get a little dragged in, or they're tired, and it's normal. Yeah. So one of the things that I talk about is, and this is, anybody could use this, kids will come in and they kind of have this, I'm going to just get up there and go through the motions, right? And they kind of swing. They think like, it looks like they're trying to fool you, and it's like, what's going on? Are you tired? Yeah, I'm tired. Okay, well, what are you feeling? Out of your normal 100%, what do you feel like you are today? 60%, 70%, where are you at? Yeah. They might be like, oh yeah, about 70%. Okay, so what I want you to do is take your 70%. I want that to you want to make that your new 100% for today. Give me the most of what you have, instead of focusing on what you don't have, right? Because we can't do anything with what we don't have. You can only work with what you have. And so if we get them to focus on that 70% right there, it's going to switch their energy, switch their focus, because now they can sit there and sulk. They have the energy to sulk or to complain or to go through a half swing, well, why would you do that? Because that's your energy is focused on, your mindset is focused on the energy that you don't have it today, right? Yeah. So we got to switch that focus and say, okay, what do you have? Okay, great. You got 70%. Give me that 70%. Let's maximize that and make it your 100 for today. Yeah. And let's go for it. And you can see there's a completely different shift in how they're attacking the ball and the lesson overall. And so I think for us, I think that's a big deal too. We are capable of more than we think we are. And being around the sport of CrossFit, example, working with adults, we shut down here before we shut down physically, right? And so yes, every time. Yeah. So when I'm talking to any of my athletes, being, any of the members in the gym, when I'm coaching through them, sometimes I'll yell at them, sometimes I'm yelling at them, but sometimes I'm just trying to be that little voice in the back of their mind, right? And I'll get up close to them. Instead of just shouting over the music, I might get up close to them and say, come on, you got more inside of you. You're stronger than you think you are. This is why you come here. This is where we get better when it hurts a little bit. Just crank it up just a little bit, right? And so you can see that they have this little shift, and they change because they're focused on, you're right, I am stronger. I can do a little bit more. It does hurt, but that's why I'm here. I am getting better. So they're focused on the good stuff as opposed to, oh my God, my lungs are on fire. My muscles are burning. I'm gonna die right now. I can't do this anymore, right? Yeah. And so it's cool to be able to have them switch that gear. And when they're focusing on the good stuff, you're not worried about the bad. And I think that's a big part of what I do all the time. And it's cool because I kind of trick members into, being strong mentally. They don't realize that it's happening because they're moving. they're in motion.
Trying to get
So I'm just trying to be that. Exactly. Just try to survive.
Yeah.
So it's good. So yeah, that's definitely, something that I do. And I always try to be that bright spot in someone's day when they come into the gym. That's 1 hour of the day that they are going to be with me. And if I can impact somebody for just in that 1 hour of the day, I've definitely felt like I've done my job, because most people aren't having a bright sunny day all day, right?
Yeah.
So if they can come in and see me, see a smiling face, get a high five, get a hug, come in and get after it and get sweaty and kind of just have their own time, I'm all about it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, that's gratifying, I bet, for sure. I always say, like, you can take a bad day, and once you walk in the gym, it's just like it's kind of a change of, direction. You kind of leave all your troubles at the door, and it really is the truth. And then, obviously, people like you in there, coaches like you in there will definitely help that along. So cool. So I know we were talking about a little bit beforehand about maybe some books that you have that you really are kind of big on, that kind of like mind shifters. And I kind of agree with you. I listen to a lot of audio books, and that's kind of been a big mind shift for me. Why don't you share a little bit on what you find and your favorite books, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of really good books out there, and I think that's a really good way to learn and to grow. You understand that there are people who are dedicated their life to the knowledge that is out there for positive psychology, and that's one of the fastest growing things right now, is that we understand that positive psychology is huge, and it's really important to our success. And so why not read a book, over, let's say it's a week or two to read this book, for reading just a little bit on a daily basis, that took somebody years of research and development and degrees to write. Just read this book over a couple of weeks, and you can really start to take in a lot of this information. And so I think one of the really good books that for me that kind of was, it's a starter. So like if somebody really needs a good place to start, this book right here, it's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Oh yeah.
This is a great book. And it's just, it says turning simple disciplines into massive success and happiness. And really it's about doing the seemingly insignificant things at the time of doing it, but you do it anyway, and you do it over and over and over with integrity and faith until the compounded effect kicks in. So like example, in our gym, if you show up on a daily basis and you're going on a daily basis and you're putting in time doing your lifting, you're working on your technique, you're working your positions, you're staying focused. And sometimes it feels like, my lifts aren't getting better, until one day, click, you hit a new PR and you're like, oh, that was sweet. Like you just hit a new lifetime PR. And then you're like, well, I felt really good. Let me try a little more. And then boom, you PR again. It's like a second where you're like, what is going on right now? That's like that compounded effect, right? Where you've been stuck at one weight for a year and a half, and then all of a sudden, click, and you jump 20 pounds and you're like, what just happened? Yeah. Right? That's just integrity and faith over and over and over. So, that's a really good book that I really like. This next one is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. This book is awesome because we all get into our head, all of us, everybody. We have moments where we think ourselves out of what could be, right? We get in our head for whatever reason. We have self-doubt. This book kind of explains what's going on, right? And he's talking about it's the work of the devil, right? So it's just, I don't think most people, when they hear the devil, don't want to be buddies with him, right? And so this teaches you how to outwit the devil and how to keep sharp on the head game. Really, really good read there. This one is called Before Happiness by Sean Aker. He has some awesome stuff that he has written. And it's just, the 5 hidden keys to achieving success, spreading happiness, and sustaining positive change. Sean Aker is, he's amazing. He really is. He's got a lot of really good books. Definitely, I would look into more of his stuff there. And then this is just one of my last ones here. I definitely have a lot more, but this one has probably been my go-to. but I listen to it on audio. This is called The Untethered Soul. Okay. This is by Michael Singer, if you can see that. But this book on Audible, I've listened to it now probably 8 different times. They say it's called spaced repetition, where you listen to something over and over and over. And they say usually around 6 times, after you've heard it about 6 times, you're retaining about 60% of the information. So think about that. If it's one time, you're virtually not going to remember anything.
No,
right? Yeah, exactly. And so this book, I've listened to it. I think I'm on my 8th go around with it. I just call it my reset book. It's something where if you're ever just, life happens, right? Maybe you have, like recently I've had some, family problems with as far as my dad's health. That's been a big concern, and we got a big family. And so I got family members pulling me all different directions, as well as I got to take care of my own family. I mean, I have my wife and 3 little kids that are 5, 3, and 1. I got a lot on my plate as it is. And now I got all my aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's stressful. And so like, that was a time definitely I went back, started listening to the book again, just kind of calms me down and kind of recenters me, gets my energy right. And I can stay focused on it. And so, yeah, those are just a few of my favorite books here that I really like. And so definitely take a look at them, check them out. I hope that, whoever's seeing this or listening could really get a benefit. I'm sure you could. And love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put all those books in the show notes, so that if anybody wants to go back and take a look at that, they'll have all that information there. Some great advice. Just love your energy, love your positivity, man. Like, for real.
Thanks,
like
brother.
if I ever need a pick me up, I know who to call. If I don't have somebody immediate, it's Aaron Garcia, man. So
yeah.
a little bit on the we're going to wrap it up here, but I just want to give everybody a chance, if they need to get a hold of you, get some nutrition, get some positive energy, get some suggestions on mindset. You do online coaching, all that. If they need to get in touch with you on any of that, what's the best way they can do that? I know you got Instagram, Facebook. What's the best way?
Yeah, both Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram handle is agarcia112. So you can definitely message me there. I'm on there pretty regularly and checking my messages. You can also find me on Facebook. There's a lot of Aaron Garcia, so
Remember
I
that
have to. That's right. Remember it. So yeah, but
ads on his Facebook.
yeah, that's right. So definitely can reach me through Instagram. It's probably the easiest way. Yeah, that's the best way for sure.
All right, man. Well, hey, I certainly appreciate you having you on, Aaron. Lots of great information, man, and keep it up. Hey, Open 2021, buddy. Get ready.
Let's go. Right on. All right, brother. Sounds good.
Have a great night. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. You too. Absolutely. Thank you.